Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out to our regular meeting. It's called to order. Please stand for the invocation. Mrs. Bard will lead that on.
Our gracious Father, thank you for those that have attended. Thank you for those that are here with a humble heart. I ask, Heavenly Father, that those that sit in this seat where I sit, Jesus, that you allow us to make the best decision, which is best for the parish and for the people of the parish, Jesus. Give us the wisdom, the knowledge, and the integrity to do what is right for this parish, Jesus. These blessings I ask in your Son, Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Please follow me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're gonna move down to E to our announcements. We don't have any presentation of the award at this moment. Any announcements? Being none, any call for additions and deletions to the regular meeting agenda? If there is not none, okay, any guest and public comments for the regular meeting? Okay. President report, none. Council report?
The report of council at this time is that next meeting, Jennifer McKay will be back here.
Thank you, sir. Administrative report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Item 1, the coroner is removing one deputy coroner position from the payroll due to the frequency of the calls that office has been receiving. He will still take calls on an as-needed basis, just not be paid through payroll. They are paid a certain lump sum amount each call they go out, so this is an effort to save them money after meeting with a coroner.
Okay.
Item 2, the Stately Road update. As the jury recalls, Mr. Fuller contributed $22,000 of his ARPA funding in partnership with Waterworks District Number 1 to bring water to constituents on Stately Road. The last update I got from the last district meeting held on September 25th was that the water lines are in, the meters are in, but the connection that runs underneath the railroad tracks is currently being bid out by KCS Railroad to do the connection. Once that is completed, the water district will be selling water to the constituents in that area. Item 3, the LCDBG public hearing was held for public comments on September 28th. The focus of the grant will be on the bird streets, as we had discussed before. The max funding for this next round is only $1 million. The CDC is working on this grant for the jury. At that time, there was only one person who was present from the public to make any comment regarding the project. Item 4, the list of roads the jury has authorized to be worked on utilizing the outside contractor, which is Light Brothers Construction, will begin tomorrow. We're working on mobilizing their equipment, and as you know, moving this equipment around the parish can be time-consuming. They're going to start on the Jesse Latin Road up on the north end and move down towards the southern end and probably finish, I believe, Garrett and Walker Road, which is actually on the west side of the parish, at that list I gave y'all. Item 5, the recent capital projects that have been issued, their notice to proceed. The work is set to begin next week. The contractor will start with Jesse Latin, then move to Cody Drive, then Hannah Tucker, and then finish with Kyle Porter. This one was y'all awarded to Regional Construction last month. They just got their notice to proceed, so we're trying to get those done before the end of the year. ARPA update, if y'all would please find attached to your administrator's report behind it, there's a sheet of paper which gives you the ARPA update. Look those over. You'll see the remaining unallocated amounts for the jurors accordingly. Item 7, an update on Sales Tax Commission meeting. I attended the last Tax Commission Board meeting on October 10th. Your tax administrator made the board aware that the Remote Sellers Commission contacted the tax commission and made them aware of a substantial increase coming to DeSoto Parish due to the rail spur location. A large one-time increase should come in the next month or so. We don't know exactly when. This is due to a program available to businesses through the Remote Sellers Commission known as the VDA program. The Voluntary Disclosure Agreement program is available to a vendor making sales to a local jurisdiction who has neglected to remit the tax due in a timely manner as a result of never before doing business in the local area or having a one-time sale with no future anticipated sales. The VDA program offers the business a one-time abatement of penalties, but not interest. So that way, they get the opportunity to self-register with the locals and make that payment in lieu of paying a substantial penalty. Item 8, budget meetings update. Over the past few weeks, the treasurer and I have been meeting with the various department heads to develop the budgets to present to the jury. The first special budget committee meeting will begin this Thursday on the 19th at 5 o'clock. The budgets to be reviewed are for OCS, rental assistance, airport, animal services, ARPA, the sales tax funds, and the East Side Sewer. Those budgets are in your folders that are on each of your desks. Please take them home to review in anticipation of the meeting on Thursday. Item 9, Longstreet Road work and the CEAs in regards to those. I reached out to the mayor of Longstreet, Ms. Connie Jackson, and she informed me that the town soon will be sending a letter to the jury requesting the jury assist with road maintenance. She's conducting a survey of all the roads located within the town limits to determine what roads are the jury's responsibility and what roads are the town's responsibility. She did indicate that they are incorporated, however, have no tax base, neither sales nor property tax, to support maintaining their roads. She's not opposed to a CEA, just wanted to make sure the jury understood that they had no tax revenue to pay for their roads. Item 10, the Logansport Sports Complex. This office has made attempts to reach out to the town of Logansport a couple of times. Ms. Garcia received an email indicating that the project is not finished. Everything was on schedule, then COVID hit. Between materials and bids not coming in low enough, they have no time frame when it is to be finished. I have since reached out to the town via email requesting a status update on a plan of action by the town. I have yet to receive a response, but I will continue to follow up probably weekly on that email. Solid waste update. Josh Biddleman, who's currently our assistant superintendent over solid waste, passed his level A operator's license last week on the 10th. He is considered the responsible charge per the DEQ guidelines. I want to make sure the jury is aware of that. Item 12, the Planning Commission meeting that occurred on October the 12th. Please find attached to your administrator's report the agenda and minutes for the last Planning Commission meeting. They focused the meeting on the Mary Oak Subdivision Unit 3's acceptance by the jury after the completion of a punch list and acquisition of a 2-year maintenance bond. After adjourning their meeting, the commission went into a workshop to work on the subdivision regulations. The office is currently recording the meetings in anticipation of doing a live stream in accordance with public meeting laws. Lastly, I wanted to announce to the general public and to the jurors that I promoted Ms. Carrie Huvier to my new executive administrative assistant to the parish administrator. As some of you received via email last week, Carrie has been with the jury for more than 23 years. She has performed many duties for the jury that include being the jury's payroll clerk, processing the jury's OLT licensing, alcohol license issuance, assisting the treasurer and the assistant treasurer with many tasks, and much more prior to my tenure. As my assistant, the jury should expect to hear from her on my behalf from time to time, either through email or text. Unfortunately, Carrie couldn't be here tonight. She came down sick and had to call in sick. I think she'll be back on Wednesday, but that's my report. Does anybody have any questions?
I asked me in debate.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
Yes, sir.
If there's not any more questions. Thanks again. Lobbyist report, Mr. Chance.
Good evening, members of the jury. Good to see y'all. I don't have to tell you all that there was an election recently, and so wanted to let you know that I've already been in contact with the transition team for the governor-elect Landry, and prior to the election, had already shared with them the issues with the severance tax and other issues that are important to our parish. And so we will continue to do that just as transition goes. You've got a few months here in which all these committees will be established, and they will essentially make recommendations to the incoming governor on what to do within his tenure. And so, like I said, all of those things are just getting started. They weren't obviously sure that they would win the election as they did, and so there's a little bit longer transition period than maybe there would have otherwise been if it had gone into a runoff. But we are communicating actively with them. That kind of parlays into state funding for next year. So we were successful, as we've talked about, in getting some capital outlay money for y'all's request last year for the parish-wide road program. Michael and his team have prepared the request for this current year. And the legislators who are there now, Bagley, Cox, and Milligan, have already issued their letters of support. And so that request will go in. Process-wise, the Governor Edwards will prepare a budget for capital outlay, and then he'll kind of hand it to Governor-elect Landry, and then he'll have the opportunity to make some changes. But needless to say, there's advocacy that takes place with the current administration and the future administration as far as fulfilling the parish-wide road, program that we've been trying to get. That's also a great opportunity to continue talking about the severance tax solution. Let's see. We talked briefly about broadband opportunities last time I was here. Those dates have not coming out for this next round of gumbo, but keep in mind you do have to have a private provider to partner with you for that. And to date, we've not had a whole lot of success in getting a private provider to come here and be ready and willing to do that. I did not participate in, but attend the Reducing Barriers to Broadband Deployment Study Group. That's the one about, how do we get it faster, cheaper. And as you may recall, there are a lot of landowner rights issues and right-of-way issues that they fought about last session that the bill didn't pass. But ultimately, that study group is trying to, how do we let broadband ride on existing infrastructure like power line, power poles and stuff like that. And so they're trying to work those issues out in the off season. So I believe that concludes my report. Just in closing, appreciate the opportunity to help the parish in the transition period, and I am optimistic about the future, particularly based on the conversations I've had so far relating to the severance tax. So,
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Chance? Thank you.
I'd like to say this for me.
Yes, sir.
In lieu of what you were saying about the severance taxes and with the new transition team coming in, I'd really like to see them, I'd like to see a video made for them to see. Because all they see is the severance taxes coming in. They see the money coming in. They don't see the damage that our parish has to face with getting it. They reap the benefits, but don't see what it takes and how the impact it has on our parish to get those revenues. I mean, look at our roads. The main thing. They don't hear the noise that it makes doing fracking, or they don't get the phone calls from constituents, from us and also the sheriff department, because they have to go out and measure when someone calls them about a noise. So I would like to just get a look at what really goes on with fracking, rather than just getting the benefits of it.
yep. And most, as you well know, most legislators are not from an area where they deal
Right.
with that. They don't know much of anything about it.
Exactly.
There could be an opportunity, based on conversations I've had with industry in the past. I know that many members of the oil and gas industry agree that this tax should go to roads, local roads, and so my hope would be that as far as some sort of marketing or something like that, I mean, there are private parties that could perhaps, you know,
Right.
fund
And
things
roads
like
is one
that.
roads is one thing, but development as well, you know.
Right.
Do some, have some areas developed in our parish as well.
Yep, well, it's hard to develop when you can't
Get to it.
right, take care of what you got.
Right.
So, yep,
I
thank
like
you.
to see us work on that.
Okay,
Okay, okay.
I mean, I'm like Mr. Arnell now, 'cause in my neighborhoods, we got wells everywhere. I'm looking for a kaboom just any time. Really, honestly, and they constantly putting them in. Those people down in Pelican area and Sam Booker, that whole Trent Field thing. I know it's so many wells until look like every mile you drive, here oil well here oil well here oil. And he right, the noise that you have to put up with the truck traffic for me, we can make a video sitting on my driveway and look at the truck traffic that we have to put up with. So he right, we make some DeSoto Parish residents make some sacrifices for them to get that money.
yep, yes, ma'am, and you know, Chairman Bagley last year really did phenomenal in the House, getting a huge, dozens and dozens of co-authors on his bill, from both parties, and then when it got to the Senate, of course, it died, and that was primarily because of the chairman of that committee. That chairman of that committee is will no longer be in the legislature, and so we all have a different dynamic for the legislation. So I'm of course cautiously optimistic, but I am optimistic that we can make some improvements on that, and I do think that Representative Bagley did a pretty good job of articulating to his colleagues what it's like to live in DeSoto Parish. And so we hope to grow that coalition of folks in the legislature who will vote for it. So.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank
Have
you.
a good evening.
You also. Treasurer Finance Report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Y'all should have had your financials sent out last week, and hopefully y'all had time to review some of the numbers. So if you have any questions on a particular line item, just let me know. I'm just kind of going to go over the highlights for that. The general fund, the revenues have exceeded the budget amounts by $908,769. Most of this increase is coming from the royalties from the oil industry. On the expense side, total elections are over budget by $2,023, and they will continue to be over budget through the remaining of the year. Most of that is due to the big election expense early this year. So budget amendment will be needed for that. The overall total expenses are at 69%, which is about 6% lower than the budgeted amount. On our road fund, revenues are about 6% higher than the budgeted amount. That's coming from sales tax. Sales tax exceeds the budget right now by $245,398. And anything above that for the next quarter will be a surplus. License and permits, investment earnings are actually exceeding the budgeted amount too. A transfer of $533,621 was made from ARPA. This is for the allocation for all the road projects that every juror has spent from your allocation for the ARPA. So that transfer was made in September, and it was only made for the actual roads that have been finished. Anything that's still out there outstanding will not be moved until it's completed. Expenses right now are right on target, about 75%, while capital expenditures are down at 17%, but we should see payments coming in for the 4 roads that we put out to bid. Mr. Norton just told Joe they just got the notice to proceed with that. So we'll be getting some of those expenses paid out. Also, just to note, the road and bridge materials, the September financials do not reflect September materials expenses. We usually don't pay those until October. On the witness and jurors, if you see that, the revenues have double budgeted projections, while expenses are at 14%. One of that is due to the judicial administrator position is currently vacant. And also the witness expense allocation of 250 that was coded in witness and juror. All of those expenses have actually been coming from the criminal court fund. I spoke with the judge and we'll be making a transfer for that once we finish wrapping up all the fees, and hoping to do that next month. The jail fund revenues have exceeded the budgeted amount by $72,581. $49,079 comes from sales tax. We're at 103%. Once again, kind of like the road, meaning that everything going forward will be a surplus. Overall expenses are at 43%, with most of those expenses being on the high side with medical expenses and supplies. The correctional facility fund, there's really no activity there other than we pay $6,175 to the State Bond Commission. That was for the professional fees associated with doing the bond. The solid waste revenues are at 15% above projections, with the sales tax exceeding the budgeted amount by $73,619. Investment earnings exceeding the budget amount by $126,994. Overall, the landfill itself expenses are at 55%. The compactor site expenses are at 73%. Capital outlay is at 11%. However, the next quarter, this will go up with the borough area preparation of cell 10. I believe we actually got a pay request last week to pay, so you'll see that in your October financials. The overall expense for the whole fund is at 43%. Criminal court fund, there is a deficit as of the September financials in the amount of $18,390. While revenues are up, the expenses have been up as well. But this is when I just mentioned the witness and juror. They'll be making a transfer roughly about $195,000 right now is what we have for the Brian Horn case. The Office of Community Service, there is a deficit on that for September in the amount of $30,624. That is due to the weatherization program. Their program starts July through June, and we have to submit an allocation plan to them each year. And then we can't actually start getting reimbursement until that gets approved. That's been done, so I'll be working on that this week to try to get that submitted. However, working on that allocation plan, I did go ahead and learn that, you know, the police jury itself, there is an allocation of about 20-something% last year that we pay for utilities and just other expenses that are not covered by the programs. So that's where that $160,000 transfer came in that we did not make this past year. So just when we get to the budget, I do have to amend the budget and ask y'all to transfer $120,000 for the year. And I kind of will go over that a little bit more just to show you what allocation we actually pay for. Airport fund revenues are at 36%, while the operating expenses are at 64%. ARPA fund, I transfer $632,775. Some went to the road department, which I just told y'all it was that $533,621. The rest was transferred to the general fund for all the other programs and CEAs that we have done. And it shows on your financials has over budget because the way it's being booked is through deferred revenue. On the rental assistance, the revenues are at 73% and expenses are at 73%. East Side Sewer Fund, we're only paying utilities at this point, and there is an item on the agenda for tonight. We're hoping to go ahead and do the paperwork necessary to get that off for books. I just don't think we're gonna be able to do it at the end of this year. But we're hoping it's an easy process, that all we'll do is a entry to our books and get that off. Animal Service Fund, revenues with our yearly transfer at 95%, while expenses are at 68%, which is about 7% lower than budgeted amounts. Our sinking fund, there's no activity other than the interest on that account. The budgeted transfer from solid waste to the fund is scheduled to be done at the end of the year. If anybody has any questions, I can answer those at this time.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Lilly, I have two. On the airport fund,
Yes, sir.
under the revenue section for the Louisiana State Grant, we budgeted 700,000 revenue and we only got 13,000. Is there?
Yes, sir.
What's going on there?
We're gonna have to do an amendment on that. Last year when we calculated, there was, and I'm not sure what the grant is, but we went ahead and did not get that done. And Jackie, I don't know if maybe you can explain that better than I can.
You can just say it from there if you want to. And the only follow-up question I have to that is, if hypothetically, the airport fund right now, it's all, none of our money, it's all federal money, correct?
Well, no, they have money on investments with U.S. Bank Investments, and we do get grants. But I kind of know where you're going with this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but yes, we are using the fund balance to where here in the next few years, there's not going to be any money left on that fund balance.
Yeah, that wasn't quite where I was going, but along that line, what happens when that hits zero? When we go negative in that fund balance, what do we do then?
That will be a question for the police jury to decide what we're going to do forward.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Thank you, Ms. Lilly. Accept the financial statement as of September 30th, 2023, the year-to-date budget to actual report.
So moved.
I got a motion by Mr. Baker,
Second.
second by Mr. Kennington and Mr. Jones. Discussion? If there is no discussion, would you please vote? Motion passes. Approval of minutes. Motion to approve September the 19th, 2023, regular meeting, October the 2nd, 2023, administrative, airport, budget and finance, building and properties, policy and procedures, solid waste, road committee, October the 10th, 2023, special meeting minutes.
So moved.
Got a mover by Mr. Rowe,
Second.
second by Mr. Boyd, Mrs. Boyd Simpson. Discussion? If there's no discussion, would you please vote? Motion passes. Old business. Recommend appointing 2 members of the Bayou Pierre Fishing and Game Commission. We have one, Jim Fairley from the Sloan Road.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Rowe. A second by Mr. Fuller. Discussion?
Do we have any other members?
No, but we could, we'll add this in here and also be looking for another one to go on that board, please. There's no, discussion. Please vote. Okay.
I had to put the name in, was making sure y'all didn't have any other ones.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, please vote. Motion passes. 5, recommend appointing a representative of the North West Louisiana Human Services District. That spot been vacant for a while, or do we have any names presented yet? Okay, Ms. Yoder, we'll defer that to the next month. Hold on, Mr. Baker?
Can we advertise for this?
Yes.
I'd like to make an alternate motion that we advertise somehow for somebody in this parish who would like to fill this position.
Can I add to your motion to advertise the wildlife and fishing for Bayou
Yes.
Pier also too?
I can put all that in one motion if you want me to.
Yes, sir.
Make a motion that we advertise for a person to fill the position at Bayou Pierre Fish and Game, and one to fill the position of the Northwest Louisiana Human Service District. Either do this online with our website or put an ad in the Enterprise.
I second. A roll call vote. Mr. Fuller?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. So, new business. We're gonna skip new business and put it last to keep the audience not waiting so long. So we'll roll down to number 8. Authorize the president to execute a grant for surface easement with Chesapeake Operation LLC for the payment of water pipeline surface easement.
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Jones.
Yep.
Second by Ms. Burrell. Discussion. There's no discussion. Would you please vote? One remaining. Motion passes. Resolution. Number 9, recommend adopting the annual bridge certification and resolution.
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Baker.
Second.
Second by Mr. Jones and Mr. Holmes. Discussion? There's no discussion. Please vote. Motion passes. Number 10, recommend authorizing the president to execute a fiscal year 2024 to 28 capital improvement plan resolution and approve the attached 5 years capital improvement plan.
So move.
Got a motion by Mrs. Burrell, a second by Mr. Rowe. Discussion? There's no discussion. Please vote. Motion passes. Number 11, recommends authorizing the jury to hire Oaks and Marino for exploration of property for the Westdale Plantation Bridge and execute the resolution for outside consultant.
So move.
Got a motion by
Yeah.
Mr. Fuller, Mr. Jones, seconded by Ms. Burrell. Discussion? There's no discussion. Please vote. Have one remaining.
Fuller.
Motion passes. Administrative item, please.
All right, administrative items, recommends authorizing the parish administrator to sign the DEQ request for termination regarding the East Side Sewage Treatment Plant.
So move.
Yeah.
Got a mover by Mr. Jones, second by Ms. Burrell. Discussion? There-
This thing go away.
Yeah,
I think I've been working with this 8 years, man.
you're correct. Please vote.
Got on here.
One remaining.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm making
Always
notes.
one, man.
Notes. Sorry, making notes on my paper.
Motion passes.
Item number 13, recommends authorizing the president to sign the amended cooperative endeavor agreement with the Village of South Mansfield for the repairs to well number 1, amending the budget in the amount of $13,049.24. Ms. Trina's
That's my ARPA money.
ARPA fund.
Yes.
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Fuller,
Second.
second by Mr. Trina. Board. Discussion.
I'll get your motion.
This another one? I mean, this the same one?
Same one.
It's the same one.
Okay.
There's no more discussion. Would you please vote? Motion passes.
Item number 14, recommends authorizing the president to sign a cooperative endeavor agreement with the DeSoto Parish Bible Charity School for a one-time donation in the amount of $3,000 from ARPA funds with Ms. Trina Boyd's funds.
So move.
Gonna make an alternate motion to that.
Oh, you
We're gonna clean up the language on it.
Alternate motion to that will be to authorize the president to sign a CEA with the DeSoto Parish Bible Charity School for community center programs in the amount of $3,000. That'd be a CEA instead of a donation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Have a motion.
Make the motion.
Motion.
Motion made by Mr. Trina Boyd,
Second.
second by Ms. Burrell.
It left out.
There's no discussion. Please vote.
Mr. Mitchell,
Always one. You just said that. Motion passes.
Item number 15, recommends authorizing the president to sign an agreement with Terracon for Brownsville grant writing services for the assessment grant.
So move.
Got a motion made by Ms. Burrell,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Fuller. Discussion. There's no discussion. Please vote. One remaining.
No. Probably me.
Motion passed.
Item number 16, recommends authorizing the president to sign a cooperative endeavor agreement with the DeSoto Parish Sheriff for a litter abatement
So
crew.
move.
Got a motion by Mr. Jones,
Second.
second by Mrs. Trina Boyd. Discussion.
How much this gonna cost us, Mr. Fuller?
$104,000, the same as the last crew, but this will be offset by some grants that the sheriff's office is getting as well. So
When did it get started?
as soon as y'all sign the agreement, I think he's already got a deputy picked out.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So this crew, again, I asked the last time, is specifically for trash pickup. This is
Litter
all-
abatement only. Yes,
only.
ma'am.
That's, okay.
That is correct.
Second question.
Yes, ma'am.
So will they have like a set schedule of the areas? Or, in other words, what I'm trying to say, they're not going to this area, this day, this area. Are they gonna specifically just kind of focus on one area, get that cleaned up, and then possibly move? Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes, we're going to have to do an assessment on the whole parish to
That's-
determine what
okay.
roads to set up a
Say
schedule.
where
I
we
mean,
see where there's a high need.
right, and that's going to be a communication between myself and the deputy, or the deputy who is over those crews, as they, as I hear of the areas that need to be we need to focus on, that can come as a request from a juror.
Okay,
We can
that's
start-
what I was gonna
Oh,
ask.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
I need y'all to give me
'Cause I was
some,
like, I mean, you could have a conversation with him, but if you don't know where we're needing,
oh, no, it's my intent to make sure that they are going where the jurors are
Thank
asking
you.
them to go,
Okay.
for sure.
oh, did I vote? Oh, I guess it's me waiting up there.
Motion passes.
It was me.
Item number 17, recommends authorizing the administrator to get a plan of action for the cooperative endeavor agreement with the town of Logansport for the grant money at the park.
You
This is
made the
their
motion,
approval?
Mr. Mitchell?
So moved.
Actually, did he make the motion?
I made the motion.
Okay, Mrs. Boyd made the motion.
I need to, second.
Okay. I was trying to give him a chance. It's area, you know. Ms. Burrell,
Still
second.
got an election going, he need to make these motions, man.
Any discussion? If none, please vote. Motion passes. Airport item.
Oh. Airport, airport items. Recommends authorizing the president to sign a contract using option 2 with Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission for the 2024-2025 balloons over DeSoto.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Mrs. Burrell, second by Mr. Rowe. Discussion? If there's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Budget and finance item.
Budget and Finance recommends amending the budget by $75,000 for the redistricting case.
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mrs. Burrell. Discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. One remaining.
Who is it?
Mr. Rowe? No.
Oh, I was just like that. We all looking at that.
Motion passes.
I was watching you push your button.
Policies and procedure item.
Buildings and properties.
Building
I'm
and
sorry,
Properties
Buildings and Properties.
recommend authorizing the administrator to discuss options for the school board regarding the media center.
So moved.
Got a motion by Ms. Burrell. Second.
Second,
Second by Mrs. Trina Boyd.
for any discussion.
Discussion?
Mr. Thomas Jones, are y'all interested in that from the city of Mansfield? Huh?
We are with the parish, the parish board, it'd be fine. It's gonna be something that helps the parish.
I know, cause you asked about it first, you mentioned it to us first, so I'm just trying to,
I like to talk, I can talk to Mr. Norton, see what the plan, it doesn't, I mean, we can talk about it, but if it's gonna benefit the whole parish, something that's gonna benefit us, not just the city,
We don't have any, need to make an alternate.
I am interested in building this week.
Mr. Ross?
Yes, sir.
I just had a comment that, as serving prior year on that committee, we barely have the funds to maintain our own buildings that we own now. And I think all of you'd agree, all of you have brought up concerns that you have about buildings in your area or that buildings you've been into, whether it's the 4-H or whether it's Logansport or whether it's this office or the jail or the courthouse or any of the other buildings that we are over. And I just think it would be, it would not be very prudent for us to take on another building that's old, aged, and it's going to need maintenance.
As in, Mr. Parker.
my understanding is if we would purchase this building from the school, we would have to modify it and renovate it to suit our needs. And I believe this building does contain a lot of asbestos in it, which means you would have to hire a maintenance contractor to come in and do that work. So it would run the expense of owning that building up a little more than what your original cost would be.
Of course, what
Mr. Fuller?
modifying what we have to do to it? I mean, if they're in it right now using it, but they were just in it, I put it like that, you know. I'm just saying, so.
I don't know, I
Right.
believe it was Ms. Burrell made the statement that we would have to remodel it some or
I mean,
rearrange the,
my thought with this building was trying to save the parish some money. Cause me, myself, like I say, I look at this office, everybody crowded up in it. You got 2 and 3 people in the same office, and then we got these people over here that's full of asbestos that can move to this building. I was thinking on the line of saving money, cause we do need, care how many buildings we got, we need to think about these people we got working for and moving them to a space. I mean, I figure if we can spend 30 million on the jail, surely we can put these people in decent buildings. And that's just my thought, cause me, myself, I'm totally against the 30 million jail. And these people crammed up in this office with 2 people to each little. And like right now, if we get over 50 people, they could sit in this room. They could up there. It was just a thought. I was trying to save the parish some money. Me, myself. I mean, hey, either way or the other, whether it's that building or a new building, we need to do something.
Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
I think it's just a study of looking into.
Yeah.
That's
Right,
that's-
it's just a looking into.
That's what I was about to
In
say.
any building, how many times we modified this building? You know, we've had to do things in this particular building.
Right.
But like Ms. Burrell said, it is getting smaller. And we are getting more employees, and we got, I think, 3 of them in the engineering office, combined in engineering office. And so we do need to look at something. We're not building or whatever, but we're gonna always have to modify a building.
Well, and the motion is on the floor just for our administrator
just the administrator to talk with.
discuss.
Right.
To discuss.
And bring it back to us.
And if we don't decide where to open up some doors for the city, well, he'll know where they at on it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. President, while you're
Mitchell.
doing,
Yes, sir.
while you're doing that, just kind of look around and see if there is asbestos over there, because that would weigh heavily on the jury's decision, I'm sure.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we need space, but,
Asbestos can always be abated.
yeah.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, please vote to discuss. Motion passes. Policies and procedure.
Recommends adopting policy 606 mileage reimbursement for compactor site floaters.
I so move.
Got a
Second.
motion by Mr. Mitchell, a second by
Second.
Mrs. Burrell. Discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Road item.
Recommend authorizing administrator to sign an amendment to owner-engineer agreement amendment number 3 with Beast Engineers LLC for the Powell Road project and amend the budget in amount of $30,000.
Do I have a motion?
History does it.
Oh, cow. I second. Got a motion by Mr. Baker. Rodriguez, second. Discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
now,
ma'am.
Now, what this for? Cause we done spent a whole bunch of money on Fire Road.
I think this the last piece to the puzzle.
I mean, a whole lot.
Thought the mother was the last piece.
Yeah, that's what they told the last time. Every time these roads keep coming up, but yet we still got roads down here that ain't nothing happened to. I just can't keep voting to do that.
Can I quote it to change? What is the change, Mr. Minister?
This is pertaining to the engineering of the project. Primarily, this increase is in the RPR section, it was an inspection of the roadway. Due to the increase in time we had on the project, we had some additional cost for the RPR, the owner's representation out there on the project, and this is covering those costs. Currently, we have not spent this full $30,000, and it is my goal not to. I see that we would possibly spend in the range of 20. I'm trying to save that last $10,000, but this is a request to grant us $30,000 to complete all the engineering related owner's representation out on the project related to the inspection and so forth.
So we already owe 20 out already.
We've spent probably $10,000 to date of this money. So yes, we do need some of this. We do need this money approved to pay what we've incurred to date.
That's the thing. I mean, you say you already spent it, but we hadn't approved it. So that's kind of like putting the cart behind the horse, or cart in front of the, you know.
I agree, but it needs to be different in the future.
Yep, exactly.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I don't have any qualms. I mean, we incurred the debt, we gotta pay it, but how long is Powell Road? How long is that road?
Mile and a quarter? A mile?
Why they weren't included in the first place? How much money we can spend on Fire Road?
You don't wanna know that.
For real, how much money we can spend on Fire Road? I really for real.
I don't have an exact number, but it's over $1 million.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Now I want 30,000 more.
They just, it was dirt.
Now run our road.
How long is Power Road?
Mile.
These people coming here screaming with,
How long is it?
Approximately a mile.
And we done spent $1 million on them.
Mm-hmm.
Not jury money, not all jury.
Not all jury.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
remind everybody, I mean, I'm not necessarily in favor of this, but a large portion of that is not jury money. It's road fund money, parish transportation fund money
From the state.
that has been allocated that came back to us from the state. But,
What is that large portion? You know? I know you pretty sure with them numbers. Do you know what that large
I
portion is?
believe it was 474,000.
Well, part of that
You're
money
correct.
back. See, I remember
I'm correct?
doing something like that.
So
See, I'm pretty sure with the number.
is that's our portion or that?
No, that's all, that's what the state, we already had from the state.
So we done did the 500,000.
Then I put some of my ARPA funds in there
I
too.
got you. I got you.
But didn't, let me ask you this. Ain't that the same road that this town of Stonewall got some money back?
No, it's
That
not in
ain't
the,
it?
it's not in the town.
No,
It's way outside the town.
that was Stanley Road.
But it-
Stanley Road.
Yeah, that wasn't my deal.
I know it wasn't your doing, but I still.
Mr. Reister, what, what is left for this, for the dummies, explain what RPR is.
It's the owner's representation. We hired, in this case, we hired Beast Engineering to cover, to perform all the engineering services throughout the construction project, as well as hire an inspector to be on site at all times throughout the construction. That'd be, to be out there with them when they're laying asphalt, to be out there when they're cutting soil cement, to pull those samples, to get them to the testing lab, and to make sure everything's built. Quality and control is the primary function of that.
So nobody's been on site for 45 days. What are we supervising? What's left to supervise?
We're not incurring costs daily on this. While we've been waiting on a kind of a, get things dressed.
What's left to be done, I guess, is what I'm
We need to
asking.
get things dressed up and seeded out there right now. We have a couple, the ditches that need to be dressed, the dirt needs to be pulled up to the edge of the road, and then get, the permanent erosion control established, get some seed planted out there and so forth.
But all that was in the original quotes and original cost.
That was,
So shouldn't the supervision of the owner's interest be in that as well?
the RPR is billed as is incurred. We don't have a lump sum cost for that RPR. They bill it hourly to us. It has mileage for those people to travel. It has the hourly cost of those individuals. They give us a breakdown of what they're gonna charge, but the charges are billed out as they're used.
So I just heard a second ago that the excuse for the added fee would be because of the time of the project, but if there's no work going on the project, there's no supervision to happen that day either.
I have not been here throughout the full duration, so I'm a little bit.
I understand.
I don't have all the answers to exactly what took place on each day, but yes, for what's been paid out to date, and for the invoices we're receiving from Beast Engineering, this is the situation we're in at this point.
And if the jury will indulge one more question.
Yes, sir.
So can we not just pay them the 10,000 you say approximately that we owe, and call them off, and our engineering department handles supervising, pulling the dirt up and the erosion control?
That's basically what I've done. I've asked for them to pull back, and I've met with the engineer on site several times, working out some issues, so I'm sure he has some hours that he's gonna to bill in addition to what we've talked about, that $10,000 we're sitting at now. So that's why I say, I look not to spend any more than 20, so that's what I'm shooting for. I'm still getting a grasp since I've got here on what all we spent, what all we haven't, and I'm still seeing some bills that I wasn't aware of come in, especially related to this project. In just full transparency, we do have some construction costs still coming related to this project. This is just wrapping up the engineering cost. We will have some future construction.
Additional construction costs?
Right.
Who approved that?
I'm not sure what, I can't speak to that. Some of the items that we still have remaining, that the outfall ditches, redressing some of that work with some additional work. We still have some fences to take care of, some property owners' fences that were removed. They allowed us to expand our right-of-way. We're gonna replace those fences and things of that nature.
Of course.
Mr. Fuller?
Work being done without our permission, and then they want us to pay it? That was kind of concerned. Is that the case? It's a yes or no, it's not that hard.
I'm presenting things to you as I find them.
Yeah, so that means yes.
Possibly.
So if we,
Go ahead, Mr.
so if we don't approve this amended 30,000, what are we looking at? What would happen?
We'd have some unpaid bills on the project.
Well, yeah, but bills that we didn't.
But like you say, if work is being done without our permission, that's they fault on unpaid bills. If we didn't authorize it, so.
Mr. Kennedy?
So if we pay this 30,000,
I'd like to make,
asking for nothing else.
I'd like to make an alternate motion that we recommend in approving what's already been incurred that he mentioned to just come out of my ARPA funds that's remaining. I think it's 86, 88,000, something like that. 86, I believe. Just debit that from my ARPA funds.
For 20,000.
And then we'll have to adjust, Mr. Phillip, on the other project. That way it doesn't cost the jury any more money. But I've been a staunch person. I've taken a strong stance that we shouldn't spend money before it's approved. And I still believe that to this day.
I second that alternate motion.
Mr. Rose, second. Kennedy made it.
Discussion.
Just take the funds the bills that are already incurred, take that out of my ARPA funds.
Which is that 20,000?
He says 10.
Mr. Fuller?
Yeah, mine's to Mr. DA. Are we obligated to pay for something if we didn't approve it?
If one of your employees or agents has done that, yes. But if it's a part of a project, it's been bid, and I'm not sure what the bid looks like, but obviously there's some bid somewhere. And there may have been amendments to that project, so other than answering you generally,
Yes, sir.
that's.
Thank you.
And while Ms. Jody's getting that ready for the board, just to point out, the delay in time happened not because of materials or the contractor. It wasn't the contractor's fault. Most of it was Centerpoint gas line was not ever, it was approved by our engineering department, but it was never entered in that it existed there in the plans. And so when they went to, the contractor moved his equipment in and went to start digging and saw a gas line and didn't know it was there, and we didn't tell him it was there. And so CenterPoint fortunately moved that gas line on their own dime, if I'm correct, that we didn't have to pay them to move that. And so that was a big portion of the delay. All before Mr. Reister's time.
Thank you. If there are no more questions, please vote. Motion passes.
Recommend authorizing the parish administrator to sign an agreement with Beast Engineering LLC for Martinez Dalton project.
So move.
Got a motion made by Ms. Burrell,
Second.
second by Mr. Jones. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Fuller.
keep eye on that. You end up in the same situation that we just went through.
There any more discussion? Please vote.
Mr. Burrell, Mr. Fuller, Ms. Simpson.
I mashed mine.
I might have matched it before I was able to get it up there.
Oh, okay, maybe so.
Y'all getting faster than I am. Match it, Mr. Fuller? There we go.
Motion passes. Solid waste item.
Solid Waste recommends authorizing the president, parish administrator to sign proposals from Foyer and Diable Engineering LLC for monitoring wells MG-G1-16, plugging and abatement and replacement, preparation of a major solid waste permit modification application and submission, preparation of a major Title V permit modification application and submission, SWPP and SPCC updates to include RNG facility, monitoring wells, plugging and abatement, wetlands delineation study for the West Landfill property, an addendum to proposal for engineering assistance in construction quality assurance services for preparation of subgrade for cell 10 at the Mundy landfill and amend the budget in the amount of $302,500.
That's a typo, my bad.
That's supposed to be, okay. With $159,000 being reimbursed by biomethane.
So moved.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Jones, Mr. Mitchell,
Second.
I will fix that.
second by Mr. Mitchell. Motion made by Mr. Jones.
Did you say 145,900?
159,000.
59,000.
Take out the 4.
Take out
Take the 4 out.
Take the 4 out.
Yes, Lord.
Please vote if there's no more discussion.
Number 25, recommends authorizing the president to sign an identification with neighbors' property north of the landfill in conjunction with the construction of biomethane gas processing in the buffer waiver affidavit.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion made by Mr. Rowe, second by Mr. Fuller. Discussion. There's no discussion. Please vote.
That ordinary be on it.
Never miss, never late.
Motion passes. Now we'll move on to our new business. Is that executive session in compliance with Louisiana Revised Statute 42-17-1. Discuss the character and professionalism of the competence of a parish employees. However, no final or binding action should be taken during this executive session.
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Rowe, second by Ms. Burrell. We're going to executive session, ladies and gentlemen. As of now. Mr. Norton, open or close?
Close.
Close. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
That to me, 2 hours.
be here that long.
You don't have to
Dwayne opponent, been to
Huh?
a meeting
You don't have to
yet?
wait on everybody.
Has Dwayne opponent been to a meeting?
I make a motion
One,
to
two.
go back into regular session.
Oh, yeah, okay, Mr. Baker, I mean,
He was out there earlier.
Mr. Mitchell, make a motion to reconvene from executive session, second by Mr. Fuller. So we can reconvene as executive session, with no, binding, action taken, was no need. A motion to adjourn?
So move.
Got a motion. Mr. Fuller, Ms. Trina Bard, Ms. Burrell, Mr. Mitchell, we adjourn. Good night.
All right.
Yes, Mondays are not my days, my good day.
Guess what, man?
Oh, I'm leaving.